Welcome back to another episode of Control the Chaos Mama podcast. I'm your host, Angel McElhaney, and I cannot wait to give you guys 8 questions to think about in 2022. With this new year, I want you to gain some clarity and really intention around what it is you want to create in your life, in your business, and all the things. And so I think this is a step that everyone skips. It's not as glamorous or quick acting, I feel like, as a lot of the other things that are outwardly easier, to buy the thing. And am I the only one that you buy something and it's almost like you think that you completed it? So it's almost like done because after you clicked buy. Sometimes I forget to even download the thing or read the thing, but it's like, I want this change to happen so quick that wouldn't that be cool? You just buy a book and it downloads to your brain. Anyway, I digress. So let's get into it. I hope that these questions are helpful for you, and I hope it helps you to know or to lean into the things that really matter as far as your values and what you want to create out in the world. I think a lot of times we are looking to discover who we are and what we're meant to do, and maybe you are meant to create what it is that you maybe needed or what someone needs in order to make the impact that you want in the world. All right, let's get to it. Question number 1, what kind of change do you want to create? What is something that is innately important to you? And this could be also seen in answering questions and things in forums and stuff. What do you find yourself responding to automatically? It doesn't feel like work. It's almost like you want to make this change and you want people to stop selling themselves short, or there's a change you're wanting to innately make that is driven by more than money. And so I want you to think of that. I also want you to think of what it is it that you want in the way of your days to look like. And so I recommend, especially as ADHD entrepreneurs, that you kind of package your days Tuesdays, Thursdays, you do something, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do something, or Mondays, you do something. For instance, photographers, maybe you shoot on certain days, or you do back office stuff on certain days. And definitely you can utilize your cycle syncing calendar to kind of gauge your energy as to when you should maybe batch for front of camera or podcasting or whatever that looks like. But I think this is super helpful to plan. Remember to times 3 that plan so that you'll actually have some success at it. But I think it's looking at our energy and then keeping the momentum going. That momentum part is huge for that. And so thinking about what you would want, I don't want to say an ideal day, but just looking at what you would want the week to look like, or what it is that you would want to be able to do. And definitely think about going back and forth when it comes to the energy, because I don't know about you, but I can be somewhat of a marathoner to where I dive into something and I just don't want to stop. It's almost like I forget to eat and drink when I'm in this hyper focus phase. And so not necessarily that, but that you move through the day, if that makes sense. And I do this with Thea a lot in terms of get Cohen on the bus, and then there's this lull of time, an hour and a half, where I can do focus work, but then I need to leave. And so then it's it gives me a deadline, or this urgency that is a lot of times needed with ADHD folks. So whether that's that you need to leave to go run that errand finally and return that Amazon stuff, or go to the post office, or go to that gym, or go to the park, or fill the kids' tire tank, or whatever it is, just trying to look to see what you would want it to look like. Do you want to have a day that is totally fun? Because that sounds amazing. Okay, there's some urgency for you. If I get all my stuff done that I'm having gauged expectations on throughout the week, then that last day, I'm planning fun. Now, obviously, if you don't get to your core non-negotiables, then maybe you don't get that reward, but it's almost a built-in celebration and reward. And you created this business for a reason, so you might as well, and shoot, it's your life. Even if you don't have a business and you're a mom, don't you want to have a day maybe where you can go and actually enjoy your kids and not be cleaning all the time? Go on a field trip type thing, you know what I mean? And so what is it that you want it to look like? Maybe you hate cooking. I don't know about you, but I hate that dinner talk. So maybe you try to pick a day where you're going to just batch. Maybe you hate laundry. I'm going to do it all on one day. Man, that's a lot of folding in my house. But I digress. Okay. So maybe you want to look at like what it is now. You have to know where you are in order to know what you want to change, and then what you want it to look like. So that is another step that a lot of people forget. Gain the self-awareness of where you are now. That's why when people want to transform their bodies, they take pictures and measurements, and they might even do like a fitness test or something like that. Look at all the things and figure out where you are now. So if it's in your business and you're making all these goals, like, are you writing down all of the analytic parts of, and yes, I do write them down. I just don't go back and look at them, but hey, you got to start somewhere. But writing down all the things, like if you're in podcasting, how many downloads do you have now? Like, how are you showing up for it now? And then what is your idea? Like making those good, better, best workflows is going to be huge for that. All right. And what would it mean for you to do that? Like, what motivates you? You can definitely go back to that episode on the 4 tendencies and figure out like which, find out what motivates you that way. Like, are you a rebel? Are you an upholder? Are you an obliger? So that you can get creative and use those strategies. I know for me, I'm a rebel. So my motivator is identity. And so I have to kind of trick myself. Like, I can't necessarily just do something because the outward expectations and the inner expectations, like neither one really works for a rebel. But, I'm a rare sort, I guess. But finding out what motivates you is going to help you to be able to be more successful and to build a strategy that could actually work. So figure that out. And then also that could also be figuring out what it is. They say the saying like your why make you cry type thing. But like if you can figure out your story and why, a bigger mission behind what you're doing, then I think it will have more power and weight whenever you don't want to do it. It will be more important. And so, for instance, with me, with my boudoir business, I know I've mentioned this several times. I probably will repeat myself a lot on the show, guys. I'm sorry. But whenever I went to go out in the garage and I was looking through my mom's stuff, who had passed away, and like 10 years ago. So I'm like looking through her stuff, and I found a letter, and she was so tearing herself down as a 16-year-old girl about her body and her weight and all this. And it was just so sad that like gave me fuel to really like create some change around women and how we see our bodies and just all that part of it, And so that is a bigger. And especially I have a daughter now. And so like having these layers of conviction around what you're doing is going to help you to have more of an energy, like in a mission, a rally cry, like a movement that you're doing versus just, like, oh, I take people's boudoir pictures. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be more important to you. And so thinking about like that, and then also thinking like, I know a lot of times we're thinking about like, what do we want to change? What do we want to have that we don't have? But what do you love about what you have right now? Gratitude is huge for appreciating what you have and manifesting what you don't and all that. But I feel like gratitude is where it has to start. And I've already mentioned how I used to, after my mom, I found a gratitude journal. And it's funny that years later, I found that gratitude journal again. And it was like only filled out like 3 or 4 pages. And that impacted me so much. And I talk about it all the time. And the thing is I didn't even finish it, right? And so things can have value even if they serve you for just those moments. It's actually in my nightstand right now. I should continue it. But those little few prompts really helped me. I remember I was sitting on a step and one of them was saying like, find something beautiful. And it was like, when you are in pain or you're going through the hard stuff, it's like you're not noticing things that are beautiful because you're still like wallowing and just like all in sorrow mode. And you really can't be grateful and full of sorrow, I feel like, at the same time. At least I couldn't. And so if you're like, oh, let me look for something beautiful, you are looking for something that you can appreciate, right? And that comes from gratitude. So I remember there was like roses where we had planted a rose bush that my work had given me at that time whenever my mom passed away. And it was like, oh, something beautiful, right? And then I remember another one was like savor something. We're all in a rush and we're like rushing here and there and everywhere. And so like, when was the last time you like savored something, like actually tasted it and, like I mean, I get it. I got 4 kids. If you don't eat it quick, they might come take it. Anyway, but I digress. What do you love and appreciate about your life and your business right now? And take some time to kind of like soak that in and appreciate it, savor it. And of course, what are you frustrated with? Like, where are you putting time, attention, money, and all the things that you're not seeing fruit yet? And so maybe there's some branches on this little tree that you're making that you need to kind of trim off. And so maybe taking that time to have some discernment over where your resources are going and your time, and making changes as needed. Because if you can double down on the things that are working, then you will save time and you will still see more benefit. There's this idea that we have that we have to do more work in order to make more money or to be more successful. But what if you just followed the ease and what's like, that's already working, and that's already like, and double down on that. And then it's like, it doesn't have to be harder. You don't have to work harder to make more money and to have more success. You just have to be more intentional, And so, and then whenever you are feeling at all like you are, like I call it frazzled, overwhelmed, or like, I don't know, what am I doing with my life? No, stuck or any of that. Like go back to the change you want to make. You need to go back to that letter in my garage. You got to go back to the root, because that will give you strength, as well as you need to have a community. If you don't have one, make it. Create what you want, what you needed, because there's other people out there, I promise, who need it too. I see groups all the time where, especially moms, like they're like, I need friends. Like, how do you make friends when you're grown up? And all this. It's like people are just wired for connection and they are missing it. And so how can you really just like connect with people in a way to where you can inspire them to finally try? I feel like people need to take chances. Anyway, so, and of course, look at like, if everyone acted on the change that you made, how would the world be different? What if you actually are a difference maker? Like, sink into that for a minute. Like, what if people acted on it and you were able to make this huge change in their lives? Like, does it even matter if it's a whole bunch of people? It really wouldn't. Like, just think about it. Like, it could be a big impact for even one. And that was all because you followed through on this thing, right? And so I want you to think about that, because that is probably the most important question out of all of these. And I don't even know if that was 8. I might need to go back and check. But I hope that this episode was helpful for you. I hope it helped you to gain clarity as to what you are doing and setting forth for your intentions for this year. Really, we are already here. And if you are feeling overwhelmed and like you are stretched and just doing all the things, I want you to know that in the times of being still, you can refocus, refuel, and get recentered, so that you can finally get your change out in the world. It's coming. Declare it. Decide it, declare it, and let's do it. All right. If you found value in today's show, screenshot this, share it with a friend. Definitely, if you haven't already, leave me a rating review. That is how my show gets pushed out to more people, and it helps so much. I really appreciate it. And let's connect over on IG, angel.mcelhaney, or Control the Chaos Mama Podcast. I'm wishing you joy and abundance. Angel.